A very good morning, students, and Jai to all. I am Adesh with my subject Accountancy. Chapter 5 Accounting Equation. In last video, we learned what are the basic accounting terms we have to use to solve the numerical problems and as well as theory concept. So, today we will learn how can we treat those accounting terms in accounting equation. So here we can see effect of transactions on accounting equation. Here effect of transaction on accounting equation. What are the transactions are there and how they will affect the accounting equation. Okay. So accounting equation can be affected by two types by a particular transaction. Okay, accounting equation can be affected by a one transaction in two types. Okay, so one part is by which accounting equation will be affected by a single transaction. So the first method is transactions affecting two items. Okay, when one transaction affected two items. Two item means one item is assets is equal to liability plus capital. Okay, here we can see assets is equal to liability plus capital, whatever the assets are there in the business, in the firm, that assets is equal to liability of that business and plus capital. Suppose 2000 of rupees subtract from assets, whatever the balance is there in all the transactions, assets, liability and capital. Okay, so one transaction is there, we paid cash to creditor. If we paid cash to creditor, so assets will reduce because cash is going out and liability will also reduced because creditors comes in liability. There will be no effect on capital. So now after doing this transaction, the equation is equal. Okay, so here you can see one transaction. This is a transaction which affect only two items. Are you getting here? One transaction affected only two items. For example, one more example we have paid salary. Assets is reduced, only 1000 salary we have paid. Assets will reduce because cash is going out and expenses are subtracted from capital. So capital will affect by 1000. So no effect on liability. So only two items or two items are affected by a single transaction. This assets and this one may be, this one and this may be. Only two items are affecting in each transaction. One more example I am taking here, that is outstanding expenses paid. So outstanding expenses liability, yesterday we have discussed outstanding expenses comes under the liability. So outstanding expenses paid. So if outstanding expenses paid, so that is our liability. If that is our liability, so it means cash is going out 500 rupees and outstanding expenses are liability. So it means again liability will reduce. No effect on capital. If outstanding expenses generated, in last example outstanding expenses was paid, but in this outstanding expenses generated. So if outstanding expenses generated, so liability will create means liability will add. So for example 100 rupees, so 100 rupees liability is generated, but outstanding expenses are expenses. So if they are expenses, so that will subtract from our capital. Here is no effect on assets. So these two terms can be affected. If one is added, so another will be subtracted. If only in same side. Okay, if the transaction is affected at the same side, both the items, so one will add and one will subtract. And if they are they are affecting in other side also, so if one is subtracting, so another is also subtracting. Okay, when only two items are affected by a single transaction, so this type of transaction can be there. Okay, many more transactions, many more examples also there who affect these terms in this concept. Second one is transaction affecting transactions affecting more than two items. So here once again, assets is equal to liability plus capital. Okay, here also I am taking example, assets is equal to liability plus capital. One example I am taking here, when one transaction affect more than two items. More than two items means all the three items will be affected here by a single transaction. Maybe some amount add here, maybe some amount add here, but some amount may be subtract from here. Okay, so goods purchased on credit and goods purchased on credit and getting 20% profit on it. Okay, I'm writing here. goods purchased, sorry, goods sold costing of rupees 10,000 in 12,000 on credit. Okay, goods sold costing rupees 10,000 in rupees 12,000 on credit. Okay, so if we selling the goods, so it means goods comes as a stock and stocks comes under the assets. So it means if we are selling the goods, so it means it will subtract by rupees 10,000 as goods. Okay, and these goods are sold on rupees 12,000. Okay, these goods are sold on 12,000. 10,000 rupees costing goods are sold on 12,000. So 2,000 of profit we are receiving here. So capital will affect by rupees 2,000 because profits are added with the capital, and we sold goods on credit. So it means debtors are generated here. Okay, debtors are generated here because if we selling the goods and here we are not receiving the amount at that time, so debtors will generate and debtors comes under the assets. So it means once again 12,000 rupees will added with the assets. Okay, 10,000 rupees stock will subtract and 12,000 debtors will increase. So 10,000 assets will reduce and 12,000 assets is generated and 2,000 profit is here. So that's why it is added with the capital and no effect on liability. It will be equal to 0. After this transaction, both sides, here 2,000 will be the final amount, 0 and 2,000 will be the final amount after solving this. So one stock is affected, second debtor is affected, and this is the profit who affect the capital. So this is the example who single one transaction affect more than two items. Are you getting here? So this type of example and this type of questions will come, we will face those who have we have to solve it. So now I am taking one question which in which I will solve the accounting equation and how one transaction affect two accounts or more than two accounts or items. Okay, so let's see the example and we are going to solve it. Student, you can see a question I have written on the paper. Question is that show the accounting equation for the following transactions. Different four transactions given in question and we have to show the accounting equation. First of all, we should learn to prepare the format of accounting equation. This is the particular format. At the top, accounting equation, this column for transaction, and in this column the accounting equation I have written. Accounting equation means assets is equal to capital plus liability. Liability may become before the capital, so liability plus capital also we can write here. Okay, so whatever the assets and whatever the liabilities are what are the transaction will affect the capital, so we will write particular accounts at the bottom of assets and those are related to capital. We will write bottom of capital and which are related to liability, we will write on the bottom of the liability. Okay, so here we can see transactions. Transaction first. Gopinath started business with cash rupees 25,000. First transaction we will write at this side in transaction column. First, Gopinath started business with cash. It doesn't matter we have to write the complete transaction. No. So to transaction also we can write a. Okay. In next transaction I will write. You can. Gopinath started business with cash rupees 25,000. So it means cash comes in the business of rupees 25,000. So cash is related to assets. So that's why we will write cash head under the assets. So it is increasing by rupees 25,000, and when a business started by any businessman, so and whatever the amount is introduced by those businessmen, so then that will be the capital of business. So this 25,000 will affect to the capital. So 25,000 will added with the capital, no effect with liability. So liability will 0. Okay. Then second transaction, purchase goods from Sham rupees 10,000. This transaction not showing good purchased with cash or on credit. Nothing is there, but only the name is there. If the name is only there in any transaction, so that transaction is counted as a credit transaction. Okay. If only the name of the businessman is given from whom we are purchasing or to whom we are selling the goods, and the name only is given in particular transaction, so that transaction will count as a credit transaction, not cash. Okay. So this transaction is count as a credit. So purchased goods from Sham on credit. Okay. Purchase goods from Sham on credit. We will mention here. Yes, we have purchased these goods on credit. If we purchasing goods, so then goods are coming inside the business, and if goods are coming inside the business, so that they will increase the stock, and stocks comes under the assets. So we will make one more head as a stock. So stock is increasing because we are purchasing, so we should add in this. The amount is 10,000. Okay. 10,000 stock will increase, and we are purchasing these goods on credit, so it will affect the liability because creditor will increase. So we will make one more head under the liability, that is creditors. So creditors are increasing by rupees 10,000. Any problem here? Cash no effect, it will be equal to 0, and capital no effect, it will be equal to 0, and stock will be 0 at the top. Okay. If any accounts is left or any transaction is left, so then we will make that 0. underline this one, and then we will make a new equation. Okay, new equations we will make here. Cash total amount is 25,000 after both the transaction, and stock is rupees 10,000, and capital is 25,000, and creditors are of rupees 10,000. Both the equations are equal. Next one, third transaction. Third transaction, sold goods to Sohan costing rupees 1800, rupees 1500. Here once again there is only name, no cash and credit is given in this transaction. So this transaction will also on the credit basis. So first of all we write the transaction here. Sold goods to Sohan on credit. Okay, sold goods to Sohan on credit. Costing rupees 1800. So it means stock will reduce by rupees 1800. Okay, stock will reduce by rupees 1800. Why? Because we purchased this goods at rupees 1800 in past. So that's why we will subtract 1800 rupees of goods from here. And these goods are sold on rupees 1500. When we saw selling the goods on credit, so then we have to receive amount, but at that time we did not receive any amount. In future we will receive when selling the goods on credit. So then debtors will generate. So debtors comes under the assets. So one more head will generate here debtors. Okay, so then 1500 rupees of goods will show under the debtors, and above it will equals to 0. Okay, above debtors will equal to 0, but in this transaction 1500 rupees of debtor is generated. Costing rupees 1800, sold rupees in 1500, so 300 of rupees loss is there. Okay, so that loss we will subtract from capital, and no effect on liability or creditor, and no effect with cash. Are you got it? So again a new equation. Cash of rupees 25,000, no effect with cash, plus 10,000 of stock was there, but 1800 of value of stock was sold out. So now 8,200 value of stock is remain with the business, and 1500 rupees of debtors are there, and 25,000 capital was there, but 300 loss we will subtract, we will minus, and then the balance will remain 24,700 with capital, and the liability will remain of rupees 10,000. No change with the liability. It is clear? Next, fourth one. Gopinath withdraw from business. Gopinath, who's Gopinath? Gopinath is a owner. Gopinath started business. Okay. Gopinath withdraw from business rupees 5,000. गोपीनाथ 5,000 रुपीज़ विड्रॉल कर लेता है अपने बिजनेस से. सो फर्स्ट वी शुड राइट द ट्रांजेक्शन हियर. Gopinath withdraw for personal use. Okay, when only withdraw is given there, nothing is mentioned for which purpose he is withdrawing. So then this withdrawal will call drawings. Okay, this withdrawal will call drawings. Drawings are for personal purpose, personal use, for household purpose. Different word can be used for this withdrawal. Okay, सो बिजनेस से इसने विड्रॉल किए हैं और यहाँ पर कोई स्पेसिफिक पर्पस मेंशन नहीं है किस पर्पस से इसने विड्रॉल किए हैं. सो अगर पर्पस मेंशन नहीं है तो वो हमारे बिजनेस से आउटसाइड ड्राइंग माने जाएंगे, पर्सनल यूज़ माने जाएंगे, हाउस होल्ड एक्सपेंसेस. तीनों सेम ही हैं, तीनों का ट्रीटमेंट सेम ही है. सो वी विल ट्रीट दिस 5,000 ऑफ रुपीज़ एज ए ड्राइंग. So 5,000 rupees is withdrawal from the business. So then 5,000 will subtract from the cash because cash is withdrawal by Gopinath. So we will subtract 5,000 rupees of cash from as a cash is withdrawal, and 5,000 if he withdrawal from the business. So then it is generated drawings, and drawings will subtract from the capital. Okay, so here we will subtract 5,000 of rupees from the capital, and there no effect with the credit or the liability, and no effect with the stock, and no effect with the debtors. Then again we will generate new equation. Here is new equation. New equation, 25,000 rupees cash was there. We will subtract from 25,000 5,000. So then balance will remain 20,000 plus no effect with the stock. It will remain 8,200 and plus 1,500 will remain as debtor, and 19,700 will remain the capital, and 10,000 will remain the liability. So this is the new equation. If we're totaling this side and this side, it should be remain equal. Okay, so roughly if we're totaling this, so the total of this side 700 29,700 and this side is also 29,700. 19,700 and 10,000, 29,700. It will be the equal in both the sides. So that is showing कि all the transaction we have passed out is correct. Okay, so students, I will send you some more question related to this accounting equation, and you try to solve more and more questions at your home. If you're solving right now and continuously these questions or the numerical problems of accountancy, so you will not face much of problem. Otherwise your syllabus and your questions will stock with you, so then they will generate the problem with you and generate the burden on your study, on your. Okay, so that's why you solve these questions and all the questions whichever I will give you as a homework. So you try to solve at your home, and if you face any problem then you ask the queries. Okay, thank you student for today. Thank you.